BTS News Today. The military base where the two youngest members of BTS, Jimin and Jungkook, are serving their military service is filled with an unusual atmosphere ahead of June 11th, 2025. The day is not just a marker of the end of their military service, but also a symbol of the return of hope, love, and passion for millions of fans around the world. Behind the iron fences, the silent barracks, and the heavy steps of the soldiers, there are overflowing emotions, cries, hugs, and confessions of hearts that have been silenced by time, duty, and distance. That morning, the sky was clear. The sun slowly illuminates every corner of the military base with its gentle warmth. Several helicopter gunships were seen parked on the western side of the base, while military personnel in striped uniforms appeared to be passing by as usual. But something was different, an emotional pulse that was hard to describe in words. The soldiers, who had known Jimin and Jungkook for more than a year, began to show signs of parting ways. Their eyes tell the story. They knew that two extraordinary figures who were not only national idols, but also symbols of brotherhood and dedication, would soon be ending their service. Jimin, known for his sensitivity, was seen taking a leisurely walk that morning near the barracks. Her hair is now neatly cut, her face a little more mature than before, but her smile is still the same, warm, fun, and a little enigmatic. He greeted his colleagues calmly, hugged some of them, and repeatedly thanked them. In his eyes, there was a gleam of emotion that was difficult to hide. He knew that day would come, but when it did, everything felt surreal, unreal. On the other side of the base, Jungkook appears to be training for the last time with his group. Although his face was full of sweat, he still showed extraordinary spirit as usual. His muscles now look more formed, his body is sturdier, and his aura is even stronger. But behind that gallant posture, there is a longing heart. There is a soul that wants to immediately greet the outside world. After training, he sat alone on a large rock near a small forest surrounding the base. He looked up at the sky, took a deep breath, and wrote down something in the little book he always carried with him, whether it was a poem, a song, or just an outpouring of his feelings. Several other personnel claimed to have seen Jungkook crying silently, but still maintaining a smile in front of many people. He knew this moment would change everything. Not only inside the base, the atmosphere outside was heating up. Hundreds of soldiers from various countries have begun to crowd the area around the base since the previous night. They carried posters, banners, and even wore military uniforms decorated with BTS emblems. Cries, laughter, hugs, and songs echoed from early morning. Jimin Park, John Jungkook, "We are waiting," shouted a Brazilian army, shedding tears. There was also a group from Japan who sang the song Spring Day with tears in their eyes, describing how long and hard the winter was waiting for them. Many have even saved up for months in order to be able to welcome this historic moment on Korean soil itself. Local and international media are not to be missed. Dozens of cameras lined up neatly. Reporters from Korea, Japan, China, to the United States mingled among the sea of army. They all know that this moment is not just about two men returning from state duty, but also about two global cultural icons who have brought Korea to the world stage. Some television stations even broadcast live the atmosphere around the base. Comments poured in on social media. "Jungkook is coming back." "Jimin, we missed your smile. Welcome home, boys." Inside the military meeting room, a small ceremony began to be prepared. Their commander gave a brief speech about the incredible dedication and discipline shown by Jimin and Jungkook during the course of duty. "They come as celebrities, but live with us as brothers. They never asked for special treatment. They get up early, go to bed late. They listen, learn, and teach. They became an inspiration not only for Korea, but also for us, her colleagues. The speech was met with long applause and tears from some soldiers. Jimin, who sat in the front row, could not hold back tears. He closed his face for a moment, then stood up, bowed deeply, and said softly, "I never thought I would get this much love in a place like this. I'm honored." On the other hand, the upright Jungkook also briefly hugged his commander and said, "I came here to learn to be a better man. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this family." The afternoon began to approach, and the atmosphere began to warm up. The army began singing in unison, while the military put up a perimeter to secure an exit for Jimin and Jungkook. When finally 2 black cars approached the main door, all the cameras were directed. The doors open. Jimin came out first, dressed in casual clothes with a black hat and a white mask. He waved, then took off his mask for a moment and smiled. Jungkook followed, wearing a thick olive green jacket. He looked at the Sea Army in front of him and seemed to be holding his breath. They finally stood side by side, looked at each other, and paid their last respects to the base where they had spent heavy and meaningful days. They don't say many words. Only a smile, a wave of the hand, and the occasional hug to the approaching military personnel. But that's enough, because sometimes love doesn't need to be explained at length. It is present in small actions, hugs, waves, even glances. And that afternoon, the world witnessed the boundless love between the idol and his fans, between the soldier and the comrade in arms, between the 2 best friends who survived together in silence. But on the way out of the base, the car carrying them had time to stop. Jungkook rolled down the window, waved his hand, and said loudly, "We're back." Suddenly the cheers broke out. Tears spilled everywhere. Jimin also waved his hand and made a heart sign with his fingers. "Army, thank you for waiting," he said. Shortly after, social media exploded. Hashtags such as #welcome back Jimin, #welcome back Jungkook, #OurPrideEdge, #forever with Jimin, and #OT7 are trending globally. Videos, photos, and footage of their moments together during the assignment began to be shared. Many fans also reminisced about old BTS songs that seemed to have a new meaning after this emotional moment. Songs like "We Are Bulletproof," "The Eternal," and "Yet to Come" were played back millions of times in just a few hours. The night fell, but love did not subside. The base, which was full of bustle this morning, is now slowly returning to silence, but it has left a trace that will never be lost in the history of BTS, the history of K-pop, and even the history of the relationship between celebrities and the real world. Jimin and Jungkook aren't just returning as artists, they're returning as symbols of hope, proof that even stars have to go through long nights before they shine again. Now, only time will take us to the next story. Will they return to the stage soon? Will they release a new song that tells about the military period? Or will they take time to heal, to embrace the life they've been putting off? None of that is certain. But one thing is certain. Today, history has been made. Today, 2 hearts returned home. And for armies around the world, this isn't just the end of conscription. It's the beginning of a new, long-awaited chapter. A chapter full of love, hope, and a story that will continue to live in the memory forever.